Warning! This program contains strong adult language, violence, and brief nudity. It's everything you're looking for. Live from the Sims Tower in the Robinson Auto Group studio, we are AM 1600 WKKX.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Whispers Radio here on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog, and UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. It is 6:10, 42 degrees here in downtown Wheeling, and guess what, everybody? There's no snow outside. Right?
Yeah.
Who else was expecting all the snow they said we were going to get?
I didn't know anything about it till today.
Really?
I don't watch the news on the weekends, so...
Yeah, see, they told us it was like 3 to 5 inches of snow we were supposed to get.
Yep, that's what I was hearing.
So, I am glad that ain't here. A little sniffly. I think everybody's getting a little sick from all this weather. I'm Jordan Cline. She's Sarah Cline.
Hello.
And she's the lovely, wonderful Lola Miller.
Yeah.
Our guest today, Mr. Joe Montaldo, director of UPRN and I.C.A.R. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because of the way Lola said. I was like, oh, okay, no, actually done pretty good, man. Been busy as usual. Always something going on. You know, we keep up with so many things these days. It makes me crazy, but hey, it's fun. It's fun. Been doing a lot of videotaping on the Gulf South too.
You're videotaping?
Yeah, doing a lot of it on the Gulf South. We've been getting a lot of weird stuff flying around, so we've been getting videotaping, taping it up and sending it off. We got some stuff coming up on Fact or Faith in May. Y'all can catch that on Sci-Fi.
Really?
Yeah. They'll send me, I talked with the lady the other day, they'll send me the exact date sometime in this coming week, so when they do, I'll post it to Facebook. And I'll let everybody know. That one was taken in past Christian, Mississippi. It's an interesting video. It's actually on Facebook. You can find it on it. It's on one of my accounts, but it's a really interesting video, and the bad part was I was not even after that. I'm driving down the highway, minding my own business. We actually weren't out looking for UFOs. We were going to eat and go gambling. We weren't actually looking for UFOs. I know everybody thinks that's all I do, but I do other stuff. So we're driving along, and Linda said, "What's that on the left of the highway in the woods over there?" There's a big glowing orb over the trees. And we were watching it, and I was looking for a place to pull over because I wanted to get the videotape out, to get the camera out. And as I'm watching it, it's starting to settle, and I'm cussing this way and the other way, going, man, I can't get the camera and get over in enough time. So when I finally get the car pulled over, get the camera out, it's gone. It's just gone. I don't know where it went. So I'm like, well, ain't that just funny? So I'm getting ready to get back in the car, and I look over to the right, and there's this little light hovering over the Gulf of Mexico. So,
what kind of light?
It was just a little kind of reddish, orbish colored light. And I didn't even videotape. I figured it was an airplane at the time. So I got back in the car and started driving. And we got further down the road. I noticed it hadn't moved in 4 or 5 minutes. So got out the car, got the video camera back, I started videotaping. Videotaped it for, 13 to 17 minutes. It never did move. Right towards the end of the videotape, it looked like it was starting to settle downward. Like it was, going to float down to the Gulf. And but when I zoomed in and zoomed out, it didn't start to settle down, and you can see. I zoom out, and then I'm getting ready to zoom back in, and as soon as I zoom back in, it's gone. So the whole time it's in the frame, we're sitting there videotaping, and I'm discussing to people what I'm seeing. I did it the way all researchers should do it, and this is something that all the big organizations should teach. Unfortunately, they don't. I've seen videos from all the major organizations, and no one really does it like this. This is why the video got picked up, by the way. The guy was just impressed at the way we do our videos, and everybody in I.C.A.R. does it in the same way. The thing of it is you see me zoom in immediately, and you see these weird red orbs, and they split into two, and you watch them. But then I start ticking the camera backwards. So as I'm coming back, I'm talking. Now, look, you can start to see it's one single orb again. If you notice, it's about 1,500 feet over the Gulf of Mexico because the cloud deck at the time was only about 5,000 feet. So we knew the object was between the bottom of the cloud deck and the floor of the Gulf, which is, so we figured it was 1,500, 1,800 feet in the air. Then also you see me pan in so that you can see the beach and all the immediate surrounding area, including the casinos down the road and some of the hotels and stuff, to put this thing's size in perspective. So when I zoom back in on it, people get an idea of, size, distance, and so on and so forth. All videos should be done like this. It's a real easy way to do things. Just make sure you're getting something in the shot that can help you judge distance and size. And it's just amazing to me how many so-called researchers don't do that when they're video. And I understand you do get excited when you're videotaping stuff, but
that's because most people don't want to take their eyes off of the light, to zoom in on the beach.
Sure. Well, I've actually, I was talking with the people from Sci-Fi the other day with the original guy who contacted me about it, and I've got some that are actually quite a bit better than this one. I just haven't had time. They're all on high 8, so I got to get them off of the high 8 and get them onto the computer.
Yeah.
The one I took this one on, actually, it's got an 80 gig hard drive on it, so you plug it into your computer and you just download it straight off your camcorder into your computer, which is really nice. I really like that. I like the idea it's got its own hard drive and all, too. It's a really nice way of doing things. But these other ones
makes it easier.
I'll eventually get them off of there and put them on there. Also, too, we have 3 different directors from I.C.A.R that will be doing sci-fi gigs this year.
Really?
Well, yeah, one of them, 2 are sci-fi, 1 is history. And then I actually was offered a casting call for sci-fi as well. So was a couple of the other directors in the organization. So that actually went out a couple of days ago.
Now, for what?
They got a new UFO show they're doing.
Really?
And
please tell me you're going to be on it, because that would be really fun.
Well, I was asked to go in for the casting call, so I will go. It's hard for me because doing TV is different than radio. You see your face all the time. A weekly TV show that's going to appear in New Orleans might not be a good thing for me. I do own a construction company down here, so I really, really have to take that in consideration. I mean, if this is something that looks like it's going to pan out long term, then it's well worth it. But it's going to be some kind of little short gig. I don't know. But anyway, I am talking with them about that. One of our northern directors got picked up. They've got a 16-show deal with Sci-Fi where they're going to be doing, is it Sci-Fi or History? I get them confused. But they got a 16, it's on alien abduction, by the way.
Really?
And it's 16 shows that they're going to be doing. One of our assistant directors out in California got an 8-gig job with them. On different types of cases that I.C.A.R have reviewed and considered to be legit. So those will also be on there sometime, I think, starting around the end of summertime. So that's on there for sure. And then we got the videos going on. And we've just been making good strides lately. But it's mainly because, like, the guy in the UK who runs, I think it's Raw Television, he said everybody who he talked to over there, including Nick Bookham, when it came to Valor Research Alien Abductions, he said my name was the one mentioned. He said they didn't mention the organization. He said, matter of fact, they didn't mention any organization. They just mentioned you by name, which is flattering, but it's not exactly true, but it is flattering. It's nice to see it. And now, I was talking with 2 of the people from doing the local stuff in the United States, and they said every time they call a researcher, my name comes up, which is nice because we worked really hard to get there. It's nice to see that other members of the organization, it's going to pay off for other people in our organization will be able to get out there, get their material out, and get their findings out.
It's also nice to be recognized for all your hard work, too.
It is. I mean, but I'm lucky. I mean, I have a good radio show that goes out to a lot of people, so it's not as important for me. But, a lot of our directors work really, really hard. Some harder than others, mind you, but still, a lot of them work really hard. And it's just nice to see them get recognized every once in a while and get a little props, for what they're doing. I mean, they spend a lot of their own money and a lot of their own time on this. So it's a strange thing, but so it's Fact and Fake is on that one. The other one is, let me see if I got them in my emails. Let me pop my email up while I'm talking to you.
They got New York Lilies wanting to know what the names of the shows are.
The other one is Abduction Chronicles or Abduction Story, something like that. That's in my email too. This one is something UFOs. Let me see. Forgot to put it in my email. Man, that wasn't good.
It happens to the best of us.
That wasn't good at all. And, just recently we had the French Quarter Fest down here. And it's funny, I was talking to one of the people I work with. They were out at the fest, and they were sitting listening to music when 4 or 5 of them seen these weird orbs hovering off in the distance. And I said, oh, yeah, but none of y'all took the time to get out a video camera and videotape it.
And not one of them did they?
No, not one of them did. They got a couple of snapshots, but snapshots are cool, but you can't really do much with a snapshot.
It's like, look at that light there.
You can do some film analysis work, but not all that much. It just doesn't quite work that way. But it is fun to think about. Okay, I got way too many emails in this email.
Now, Lola was down in the French Quarter not too long ago.
Yes, I heard. Miss Knob didn't even call me. I'm heartbroken.
I sent her your number too. She has no excuse.
Actually, I was in Pass Christian too. We went to Pass. I was only down there for about not even a day and a half. We drove down, marathon drive down, got a couple hours sleep, went to the Pass, went to let the dog play in the ocean, came back, got ready, went to the Saints Lions game. Went back, slept a little bit, got up the next day, did a little bit in the quarter, and then went back and had to sleep some before we got up at 3 to come back home. So, it was one of those really in and out kind of things. But, yeah, we were in Pass Christian. So.
Yeah, that's where that video, the one that's going to be in Fact or Fake, that's where it was filmed at in Pass Christian.
Now, see, if you would have just stayed there, Lola, for a few months.
Well, no, I know exactly now what road you've always been talking about.
Oh, see, yeah.
Because
the Beach Highway.
Yeah, we were on it, but during the day, and we were right there through that whole NASA thing is on both sides of the road and all that kind of stuff.
Don't you love that? You're now entering restricted.
Yes. Yes.
You're driving an interstate. You're going, really? Okay, this was sweet.
Uh-huh.
Matter of fact, just recently, I don't know if I told you all this when I talked to you, but we were out there. Our French director was in town, and me and Linda and her were out there in the swamp. It was midnight-ish, 1 in the morning, something. We had really already had a really weird night that night because we had seen something land in the fog, which we still was really weird. But later on that night, we stopped at the NASA facility. We were doing a little sky watching, and out of the blue, a sheriff patrol comes up. Now, I've been going out in this place for, 30 years. I've never seen a sheriff out there, ever. Other than in the daytime to run the guys off shooting their guns, I have never seen a sheriff out there. And so we're sitting there. He comes up and starts going in this spew about, the SEALs are out here doing live fire exercising, gunning down trees, swamping boats and stuff. I'm like, what? And he's just telling us all this information. It's like, and I'm thinking, dude, what are you talking about, live fire? And now, it is a NASA facility, and it is restricted. I mean, if they wanted to do live fire, they could, but they'd still have to let everyone in the area know because, this area is open to hunters and fishers and all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I've never seen any low-flying helicopters out there shooting up trees or stuff. But there was one report, one old preacher man come unglued. He said he swamped his boat and sunk his boat and shot down one of his favorite 100-year-old oak trees or something, gunned it to pieces and stuff. But I never could find anything other than that to even prove what this cop was saying. I just thought it was weird that he just said, you got to leave. And we've been going back there for years. And the only other time anybody ever even approached us out there was about 3 weeks after 911. We were doing some sky watching. It was actually doing, I think, the Leonese meteor shower. And NASA security came up and said, you can't be here. You're going to have to leave. And he said, it's nothing to do. He said, normally we wouldn't mind, but since the 911 thing, security's tight. I mean, he was honest and told us going away, and that was it.
Yeah.
But this cop, he came up with this song and dance and all this BS.
Wasn't believable at all?
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, why are you doing this? All you got to do is tell us to leave. I mean, maybe because my car has Louisiana State Trooper tags on it. I'm not sure why he went into this spew. And what's really weird is when you're on this particular area, NASA, sometimes you're in Louisiana, sometimes you're in Mississippi, sometimes you're in Louisiana, sometimes in Mississippi. It's the way the river turns along the edge of the states there.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes even when the Mississippi cop is driving, he may actually be in Louisiana jurisdiction. So maybe that's why he didn't just outright tell us. I've just never heard that ever there before. And that night was so weird. I mean, we were out in Irish Bayou filming weird stuff flying around in the sky for hours. I mean, there was just weird stuff all over the place. And that's, as a matter of fact, that same night, what was he? Wildlife and Fishery came up while we were out in Irish Bayou filming. And first thing that comes out of his mouth, he says, have you seen any eyes?
Eyes?
Eyes, yeah, eyes. He was trying to scare the girls because there's a lot of alligators out there, a lot of them. And the reason the refuge is closed at night is because alligators have a tendency to walk up the boat launch and get on shore.
Oh.
So he's like, have you seen any? I said, no, we haven't seen any. It's a little cool for alligators anyway. You know, they're cold-blooded. I think it was in January. So he's giving us this big song and dance about what are we doing out there, why are we out there, and all this other stuff. And he leaves, and the three of us standing there, and these limestone rocks started flying around, hitting the ground, hitting next to my car. Other weird stuff started popping up, and then every now and then. And then the three of us were standing next to each other when it felt like somebody ran between us and pushed us apart. We didn't see anybody, so I'm like, well, ladies, let's just get in the car and leave. And there's a few other things happened, but anyway, I'm like, let's get in the car and leave. A couple of rocks, one rock like it hit Linda.
Like somebody was throwing rocks at you?
Yeah, they were throwing rocks, but there was nobody out there. You could see for a good mile all the way around us, so there's nothing out there. So Linda gets in the car, Dolph gets in the car. I'm standing at the front of my car. We're getting ready to walk around and get in the driver's side when something just smacks my trunk on my car. Like, you know, if you took your hand and slammed it on the trunk, it would make that smacking sound. Well, not only did it make the smacking sound, but it made my car go up and down. So whatever it was pretty heavy and pretty big, at least more than 200 pounds. And both the ladies were like, blank, 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 out of here. So I'm like, I get in the car, we leave. So
on that particular day, you didn't take your gun out of your glove box and just start shooting?
No, actually, the gun was sitting right next to the brake on my car. So the emergency brake on my car. So we get back in the car, and oh wait, I didn't even tell you the best part. The thing ran between us. Then we heard the thing slam. The reason we all got back in the car is because we kept hearing "get out." And the first time it was like, get out. Like, whatever. Next time it was like, get out. And then the next time it was like, get out. So I'm like, well, let's get out. So we get in the car, you know. So that's when that thing hit the trunk. I guess that was to make sure we would leave. And we get in the car, well, right as we hit the highway to leave this place. Wait, it's not exactly true. We heard, get out, and then the thing slammed. And then we got on the highway. And you could hear like something was coming down the highway because, you know, you were out in the swamp, so the noise carries well. So you could hear something. And I could even thought I seen some like light glowing down the road, like something was coming down the highway. So anyway, I get on the highway, I take a right. We're about 75, maybe 100 yards past the place where we were when two white, you know, PD cars come by, New Orleans Police Department cars come by. Well, I thought they were odd because they had stripes on the side. Well, New Orleans quit using that particular model paint job back around 2000, 2005. So I'm like, what? That was just kind of odd. Well, and then I noticed neither car had tags on it. so I'm kind of like, well, I'm speeding up. And then I hear Linda and him say they pulled in. There was two driveways into this park where we were, right? One pulled in the front driveway, one pulled in the second driveway and stopped. So they were coming there to make sure we weren't leaving. We had just already left. We had left before they got there. And that was just wild in itself. That was just insanely wild.
So you don't think they wanted you to leave?
No, I think we were getting ready to get mill-labbed.
Oh, wow.
And I really do. I think we were on the verge of getting mill-labbed. And at least somebody was going to get mill-labbed. I can't say who it was, but somebody was going to get mill-labbed. So then, by this point, I'm flying, by the way, through the swamp at about 100 miles an hour.
For those listening that don't know, what's that mean, mill-labbed?
Oh, military abductions is what it is. It's a bad word, mill-lab, because we don't really actually think it is the military per se. We think it's a conglomerate of people from the military, from different organizations, from different companies that all have gotten together. Key people over the last few decades, over the last 40 or 50 years that have gotten together and actually re-abduct people who are having alien abductions. That's really what it is. And that's really what it's about. And it makes total sense to me because if aliens are taking people, the government's definitely going to have a vested interest in it. But see, that's the same night when we had the guy run us off with math. And the weirdest part about that is we're driving down this road. We're going to go stop and get something to eat at the Silver Slipper Casino because it's about the only thing open at that time in the morning. So we're going to go get breakfast. So we're driving down this lonely country, swampy road. Not slowed down now because it's foggy. And we start seeing what looks like a tower light. You know, they flash like a light on top of a tower flashes. when we notice it's really intense, I'm thinking, man, if I lived here, I would be having fits with the locals because it would keep you up all night. And the further we got down the road, the more intense this light got. And then we realized, I mean, the fog is maybe, you're lucky you can see 5-6 feet in front of you in this fog.
Uh-huh.
You know, so I stopped the car, turned off our lights. You don't see anything but this one just strobing intense light. And,
what color was the light?
It's just bright white, brilliant white. And I mean, it was intense white light. It was like it was bathing the whole area in light. So at first I thought maybe it's above, the fog is above the light, and the light's reflecting off the bottom of the fog and shining back down. And because we do know there are tower lights out there. There's a couple of them. There's a couple of cell phone tower lights.
Uh-huh.
There's a couple of gas companies out there that have automated beacon systems. And so we know they're out there. But I mean, I've been driving this road since I was a kid, and I've never seen anything like this before. So we get to the railroad tracks. We're looking at the railroad tracks, and you can just, the light is just bathing everything. And then you start to hear this weird, or feel this weird kind of vibration. I still don't know what it was. So I'm like, what is this? And then the girl's getting a little antsy because the light is getting more intense. And it's obviously not a beacon light, because beacon lights simply aren't this bright. I mean, now at the track, I mean, every time it would flash, it was filling the entire car with light almost to a blinding point.
Wow.
So I said, well, you know, everybody's getting a little nervous, so we go on further down the road, and we're going to come back to go check it again. Well, right as we do, we notice the police are out there doing a roadblock, I guess a DUI or something like that. And I'm like, well, where'd they come from? We just came through there. Where'd they come from? We didn't see them. You know, we had just come through that whole area and didn't see anybody out there but us. So I'm like, well, we'll just go have breakfast at the casino, and then we'll come back after we have breakfast. We get to the casino, we're like 3-4 hours off of our time frame. At least. This is like 4 a.m. now. Really? And we didn't have any plans of being out this late because what's her name? This was what our French director's last night in town. We didn't plan on being out this late because she was leaving that day on the airplane. You know, flying back to Paris, back to France is not exactly a short trip.
Now, see, Joe, this is exactly why I did not go to the pass at night. Exactly why.
Well, it's interesting out there. I'll tell you something you'd really like about the pass. There's a couple things.
I know there's one great restaurant that serves wonderful pork chop dinners.
Well, I got a couple good restaurants out there, but they got that's where the state troopers. You always hear me talk about the two state troopers. They got the thing coming out the water.
Yeah,
that's where they were in the past. And when my son was about 3 or 4, Lynn and I were coming back from Pensacola, Florida. We'd been out down doing sky watching. And we decided on our way back to Louisiana we were going to stop at the pass. We went along the Gulf Coast, actually. So we get there, we stopped, and this weird-looking cloud out in the Gulf. Okay, just this weird-looking cloud. And it's just kind of sitting there. I'm thinking, wow, you can see this cloud. It looks low. It looks like it's maybe 200-300 feet off the water, and it's kind of just drifting. And I'm like, all of a sudden, my son looks at me and says, here comes it's something about his bug-eyed friends or something. Well, my wife kind of freaks out. I'm a little leery at this point because last time he said that was in Pensacola, Florida, when Linda got her arms all burnt up. So I'm kind of like, I'm a little leery.
Got her arms all burnt up.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the first cases that ever got us involved in all this. This is going back 22 years, 23 years. Yeah, we were down. We lost a full 7 days in Navarre Beach, Florida, just gone. You have no idea where. Actually,
now, see, I've lost days in Florida, too, but I can guarantee it wasn't that I was abducted.
Well, you know what was funny about it? Somebody wrote me a letter the other day. I guess somebody had heard me talk about this story before, and somebody wrote me a letter. He said, why didn't the hotel staff say anything? I said, the hotel staff knew we weren't there. They figured we were gone. Even though the car was there, when you went and looked at the videos and all, you seen us check into the hotel, go out on the beach that night, and then you don't see us again until the day I come in to pay to stay 2 more days. Because I decided I wanted to stay another 2 days. That's the next time they see us on any tape anywhere.
Huh.
And, you know, because the maid was talking, because, you know, that room was clean. There was no reason to clean it. From the first day they had cleaned it. After that, it was never slept in again. And we just, you know. I mean, it wasn't exactly a cheap hotel either. There's a lot of money to be wasted getting probed, I have to say. I got a little hostile about that part. But the thing about the one in Pass, we're sitting there, and we're watching this cloud drift up towards the beach. And then all of a sudden we noticed there's kind of like a glowing color, like light underneath it. and you can kind of see like the trailing edge of what looks to be like a saucer or something. Well, the closer you got to the beach, the more you realize this was some type of spacecraft. And what it was doing, it was sucking water up like a straw. And as the water was being drawn into the ship, it was slowly but surely making like a mist or a cloud around the ship itself. It was one of the weirdest things I ever seen. And we sat there and watched it the whole time, even after it drifted over us and drifted across the highway and went down the highways for a little while. I don't know why they liked that particular area. Maybe it's because back then it was low traffic, low people.
Yeah,
I don't know. But it's a weird place. But I know, besides myself, there's probably been more than about 100 reports out of that one little tiny town. And I mean, Pass is like the size of your backyard.
Yeah.
Pretty little town, but it's not really a big one. And so you've seen it after Katrina wiped it out.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty. It was actually, all the coast was way prettier before Katrina because you had all those 200- and 300-year-old mansions along there and all those gardens that have been 150 years growing and stuff.
Oh, I know. It was really, because we took the beach road, and you'd have empty lot, empty lot, empty lot, old home, empty lot, empty lot, empty lot. And then when we cut inland and went over the railroad tracks, oh, then there's still stuff that's just barely standing, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then the tar, the tiny little oil balls that are still in the water, even though BP claims that they're all gone. You know, I've got pictures of, you know, like little tidal pools that are completely black on the bottom. And it's oil. You pick it up and rub it between your fingers, and your fingers get all oily. So
they are. Well, it's funny because we've got hours of videotape of them down there picking up oil, cleaning up oil, things along those lines. As a matter of fact, we even talked to a couple of people down there to see if it's Paranormal Witness Sci-Fi is what it says. Really, I just now found it in my email while I was talking to everybody. Sorry about that. Look, y'all don't know. My emails are phenomenally used. The I.C.A.R email is out of control. I've actually started sending people stuff now. Please use this email or that email or this email if you want to get an immediate response, because if you use the I.C.A.R or the UPRN, it may be a month before I get back to someone. There's just that much email, and for some reason, we got a lot of good press in the last year, and we went from 1 or 2 cases a week to probably about 10 or 12, maybe 15 cases a week right now coming in every week. Now, granted, a lot of that stuff is garbage, and it won't make it any further than the first case review. But there are a lot more people contacting us now in a much bigger fashion.
You think that has anything to do with the whole December 21st, 2012 thing?
It may. A lot of people are on the edge this year, and it might be one of the reasons we're getting this much.
Or do you think? I mean, do you think it's people are looking now because they expect something to happen, or do you think that there's actually more activity?
I don't think there's any more activity per se. I don't think there's any more. To be blunt about this, the best year for sightings was the year after 9/11. I hate to say it like that, but it is true. It's actually for the first 2 or 3 years after 9/11, sightings were going way up. The problem was the abductions weren't. There weren't any more abductions happening. So what we figured out is there weren't any really more sightings. What was going on is more people were looking up.
Yeah.
Or more people were paying attention that something might fall on their head. And in all frankness, a lot of what frankly was being reported was garbage. It wasn't what we would call, real UFOs. It was mistaken identities of some type of aircraft or things along those lines. Matter of fact, I got an excellent video from a gentleman the other day out of northeast Florida.
Let me interrupt you real quick, Lola, just so we had to take a really short break.
Yeah.
So we'll get to the video right after the break. You're listening to Whispers Radio here on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog, UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Our guest, Joe Montaldo. We're talking some aliens. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Whispers Radio here on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog, UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. It is 6:41 p.m., 42 degrees here in downtown Wheeling. I'm Jordan Cline. She's Sarah Cline. She's just waving. She's the joys of early pregnancy. Lola Miller here with us, keeping us on the air, keeping us straight. Give us a call, 304-214-1600. If you're out of the area, 1-866-514-1600. Our guest, Mr. Joe Montaldo. We are talking about a film, right? Was it a film? Video. Well, it's the same thing.
There's all kind of good stuff out there these days. Oh, I'm glad you said video. You know, guys, I.C.A.R has its own YouTube channel now, just for our material, mind you.
Really?
Yeah. It is there. One of our directors decided that we needed our own YouTube channel and put it up. I'm not sure why, but they did. Actually, it's weird because the stuff that does really well is alien, those lectures I did on Gray Contact, Reptilian Contact, things like that did really well. People just love that stuff for some reason. I don't know.
Let me
I think
ask
it's
you.
all a little scary.
Let me ask you a question real quick. You hear about I.C.A.R, you hear about MUFON. What is the difference? I mean, is there a difference in how you guys handle things? Is there like a respect for each other? Are you guys like turf warfare?
No, not really. I mean, James Carey and I got along pretty good with, and their last director, Cliff, I got along pretty good with. I haven't had a chance to meet the new director they have. MUFON's biggest problem is right now is they change command every year and a half, and you can't do that if you want to be considered a legit organization. It just makes you look bad. The thing about it is that basically the fundamental differences are they're a UFO organization, they're a sighting organization, they're not an abduction organization.
Oh, okay.
They dabble in it, but they're not nearly set up the way we are for handling abductions.
So it's kind of like your specialty.
Well, frankly, the fact that none of their directors have to sign this non-disclosure agreement tells you right there they can't be trusted. What's happened in the past with MUFON and other members of MUFON is they've taken people's story and gone public with them.
Oh.
So, they've got a bad reputation. It's not, I hate to pick on it because I got a lot of friends at MUFON. I really do. I got a lot of friends over there. A lot of them are both I.C.A.R and MUFON members. Now, probably half of MUFON's membership are I.C.A.R members. So it's not that, and they need to get back to the basics is really what they need to do. Back to what they do best, tracking, chasing UFO sightings. For me, I mean, I was a MUFON director for a long time. I was with them for 10 years, but they're not seeking the kind of answers that we are. We're looking for something different. We want to know why E.T.'s visiting. It's not about is E.T. here. Yes, E.T. is here. I mean, they put out a thing about 4 years ago or 3 years ago about what has E.T. what has MUFON figured out that the planet's being visited. Well, I could have told them that after 15 minutes. Didn't take 30 years to figure that out.
Yeah.
And
now,
so
when you say E.T.'s here, is there any chance that we got some walking around with us?
There's always a chance.
Kind of like Alien Nation?
I just don't know why they would want to. For me, it's
Have you seen Lola Miller?
She's a hottie. I know she's a hottie, but they would just snatch her up and bring her on board. There's no reason to be walking around. Give her a little, drug, and she's good to go. She'd be all happy, smiling and stuff.
Oh, Joe, quiet.
Well, I'm just saying. So, it's just one of the things. But I don't know why they would actually want to walk amongst us. I mean, literally, you're taking your hands and your life in your hands every time you walk out on the street for regular, everyday, local people. So, and we're already, and this country is already in the middle of a race war right now. So if you're going to throw in ET, it's going to get a little nasty. So I don't know what's going to go on with that. I just don't see any real reason for them to be here. I see reasons for them to be visiting the planet and doing some of the things. I just don't know why they would want to go out.
Fraternize.
Yeah, and from what they describe, the human-looking aliens, they really don't look all that much like us. They're quite a bit taller. They have 6 fingers, 6 toes. Their eyes are different shapes, and the color of their eyes are different than ours. They're all around bigger than we are. And somebody says, well, they're always beautiful. Well, you know what? If you've never met the astronauts, all the astronauts were always in prime shape, muscular build, attitude, ego. Well, that's probably the same thing you're getting from the aliens. But that is not a true representation of our population, let's be honest. Yeah. Most of America's lucky you can jog half a mile, much less. And I'm one of them, by the way.
Yeah, they just send the pretty ones. That's
so I'm thinking, the ones that send them are their scientists and their explorers and the people who have been working their careers to do this kind of thing. At least in that aspect, there's probably some similarities between us and them, but. And then they may have done away with obesity and things along those lines.
I wonder what the lazy couch potato reptilians look like.
Yeah, no, God, since the reptilians are already like 450 pounds, they didn't even think about that. It's funny, though, because I'm always getting these things about we're killing the planet, humans are killing the planet, greenhouse is killing the planet. Well, no, let me correct y'all. We're not killing the planet. There is nothing mankind can do to kill this planet. We may kill ourselves, mind you, but there is nothing we can do to kill this planet. This planet will go on long after we're gone. Now, you need to get off that kick. Stop blaming we're killing the Earth, because we're not killing the Earth. The only thing we might be killing is ourselves. And a recent study suggests that there's something much more ominous effect here than man itself. You've seen what happened at NASA just recently. 44 of their scientists came out and said global warming caused by man is an absolute farce and a way for the government to make money. They signed an affidavit to this effect.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that.
They're saying the whole green thing is a way they're blaming it on the liberals right now, but I'm sure...
Everybody wants to blame everybody else.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but I'm sure they're blaming it on the liberals right now. I'm sure if we get a Republican president, then they'll blame it on the conservatives. I'm sure they'll shift blame, but right now that's who's getting blamed for it. But the thing of it is they're right. Even Helsinki and them came out and said that whatever's causing the planet to heat up is not us, because Mount St. Helens proved beyond any reasonable doubt, because of the amount of PVCs and the amount of carbon it dumped in the atmosphere, that if every person on the planet, all 7 billion of us, were driving at the same time, it would take 10,000 years to produce that much carbon that Mount St. Helens did in the one eruption. So you can kind of get off a man as the primary cause here. You might want to say we might be part of the problem, but we're not the cause of the problem. There's some new evidence to suggest maybe this galaxy that the Milky Way's eating up may be causing this section of the solar system to heat up, or this section of the galaxy to heat up. Because what scientists don't want to tell everybody, it's not just Earth getting hotter. Mars is getting warmer. All the planets in the solar system are increasing in temperature. I doubt man can affect the outer planets getting hotter. It's just not something we have the technology to do yet. So it's looking like there might be another cause.
It's the grays.
Well, they also forget the fact that, and I know because we all live on Earth, people forget this, but the Earth spins around the sun. The sun is actually moving through the galaxy, and at different times in the galaxy, we're nearer or closer to other constellations and other star groups. As a matter of fact, there's a new theory out that the reason we have these great extinctions is every 750 million years we pass through this section of the galaxy that is so heavily irradiated that nothing large can survive it.
Huh.
Which we're about 100 million years out from right now, or something like that, 80 million years out from right now. So
well, at least I don't have to worry about it.
So but that's one of the new current theories. So, it really is looking less and less like it's us and more like it's something else. But the favorite theory is that the amphibian reptilians have come home to their planet, and it's cooler than it used to be, and now they're reheating it. And it's interesting that all this started about 12,500 years ago.
Reverse that real quick. Tell me that again.
Well, what they're saying is they're saying that the amphibian reptilians used to be native to this planet.
Really? Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah. So when they came back, they found the planet that was occupied by humans, and they found a planet that was much cooler than it used to be.
Uh-huh.
On average, about 10 degrees cooler than it used to be. But it's not so much the coolness as the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. So they're all in all, they're saying, they're heating up the planet again so that they can use all of the planet. Being amphibians, they don't care if the water's high. Okay, they can still use the landmass and use the water. So if it rises by 5 or 10 feet, it's no big deal for them. They'll just build their structures accordingly. So I don't know. And then you've got to wonder about something else. I always hear these scientists say, it's going to be 25 feet higher, really. Well, we know at least 3 times that there's been no ice in the caps. We know that for science fact. But yet the water didn't seem to go all the way up to Washington, D.C. or anything, so what's the problem? Why all of a sudden, because scientists are trying to make some money, it's going to flood the whole country, but yet it's never done it in the past when we know just before the last ice age, all the ice on both caps had melted off. There was none anywhere. And the tides and the water was real high. In Florida, it was about half the size it is right now, but the water never got inland very far. Other than the states that were already, dipping down below sea level, it really didn't affect anything else. And it didn't in other countries either. So you got to wonder why these scientists keep trying to run up all this alarmist stuff. What's going on here? You know, why all of a sudden, oh, it didn't do it last time everything melted, but it's going to do it this time? Well, that's impossible. There's the pretty close to the same amount of ice and water on the planet that there's always been.
Yeah, but now we have Coca-Cola. We can flood it.
You know, I don't know what's going on.
Devil's advocate, you know.
I know. It always cracks me up on all of this stuff, you know. And they're like, well, here's a good one for you, Jordan. This is, most people don't think about it.
Uh-huh.
Fill your glass up with ice and let it melt. Fill it up with water and ice and let the ice melt, and see if your glass overflows.
True story.
Yeah, because all it does is it's already there. It's already displacing the mass. See what I'm saying? So even if it melts, it's not going to get any higher. It's still going to stay the same. So the only ice that humans have to worry about is the ice that is actually on the continent, and it's not near as much as everybody thinks it is. But the good majority of frozen ice is out in the water. It's already out in the water. So you only got to worry about the small part of the ice that's on the Arctic and the Antarctic shelves.
You're a smart man.
And that's not going to raise the planet by 25 feet. If you melted all the ice and it was all on land, it might. But, hey, I just don't know. People, you know, I know everybody had basic chemistry in school. I'm just kind of wondering. Did they forget? Americans are becoming really dumb lately. That's all I can say.
Well, see, I am, because I'm just going, wow, why did I never realize that ever?
You know, well, because most people don't even think about that kind of stuff. They listen to what they're told.
Yeah.
I was always raised, you always challenge what you're told. You always research what anybody ever tells you, because you can't trust anybody, so don't, you know. I tell it to everybody when people listen to me. I say, go do your research. You ain't got to believe me. There's lots of research out there to tell you what I'm talking about. So, and in the amphibians case, you know, it does seem to be that since they found that oldest city just recently, that one that they found off the coast of India, the one that the tsunami uncovered, that's dating back 10,000. It's going to date back to about 12,500 years ago, which is a really weird date because that's when all the monuments point back. But it also means that it is 6,000 years older than the Sumerians. 6,000 years older than the Sumerians.
Wow. This
was a huge city. They said between 250,000 and 500,000 people lived here. They had language. They had all kind of stuff. So this is, Sumerians supposed to be the cradle of civilization, but all of a sudden it isn't now. It's like the rebirth of the civilization. There seems to be these cities we found way back, and then there doesn't seem to be much in between. Like there was a cataclysm of some kind. Well, we know the Ice Age ended about 10,500 years ago. So we were coming out of an Ice Age, maybe. I don't know. It was weird. There was some kind of disaster went on in that 12,500 BC age, because every major monument on the planet points to that date. Whether it's the Stonehenge, it's like you got the Angkor Wat points to Draco at 12,500 years ago. Leo points to the Sphinx at 12,500 years ago. The Great Pyramids line up with Orion at 12,500 years ago. These 7 statues on Easter Island lines up with the 7 sisters, or the Pleiades system at 12,500 years ago. And there's a couple other monuments on the planet that also line up with constellation.
That's what Mark Eddy, who listens, calls in every now and then. He's usually in the chat room. He's told me that before. We've had that discussion where everything, all these, times, it's all happens at the same time that something happened.
Well, it's interesting because I brought this up to an archaeologist friend of mine about 10 years ago or 15 years ago when we were discussing the sunken city of Cuba. He said, John, I never thought of it like that. He said, you just probably helped us advance archaeology. And it's just, I learned something about brilliant people because I grew up with a lot of them. They're brilliant, but they're ignorant at the same time. Some things that are just common sense they will never be able to grasp, ever. It's why scientists need sci-fi writers to invent stuff, because they're brilliant and they can. If you give them an idea, they can come up and figure it out. But it's hard for them to think of the idea themselves. That's why you have inventors like Einstein. I mean, not like Einstein, like Edison and Franklin, or a different kind of person like Einstein. Einstein was never really an inventor. He just took concepts and ideas and made them real. Because brilliant people don't really have as great imaginations as we would like them to have, is why. It's a weird thing, but look at it like this point of view. Buck Rogers is the one that brought lasers to our, is the reason the scientists who created laser got it from there.
We talk about Buck Rogers and Star Trek or Trek all the time.
Well, until just recently, everybody had a flip phone, which is directly from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Everybody had a flip phone. Not anymore now, because I like my fancy-dancy, high-end, all-in-one computer phone. But still, I had a friend of mine had to pay off a bet just recently over one of these. I told him that a long time ago that the cell phone would eventually be the end of the hardline phone, and eventually we'd be able to do everything on our phones, and pretty much we can. So he had to finally pay up on that. Boy, he fought me for years over the bet. He did not want to pay up. Hey, they're great. I use mine for everything.
Yeah, I do too. I never get off of it. Do we got a question?
MUFON gave me a good idea when they came up with that tracking application for UFO sightings. It's a good little app. I mean, it works good. And
Joe, listen, if you have an iPhone, to which everybody who has an iPhone, there's a Whispers Radio app.
Is there?
Yeah, there totally is. You should download it.
I will have to put it on the phone. I didn't know that, but I will put it on the phone. Actually, I got somebody, when they first started coming to apps, several people asked if they could make us an app, the station, but I could never get the free time because they really wanted a lot of information. But now I talked to a friend of mine the other day. He's actually going to make us one for the station as well.
That's
good.
I'm
thinking about doing an abduction app, and the reason why is I was talking with a friend of mine over at MUFON the other day, and we've been talking about doing some joint correlation between sightings versus abductions. Well, they don't have near as many abduction cases as we do, so it'd make it really hard for them.
Kind of join forces.
Cases. Yeah, and this aspect anyway.
That'd be
interesting.
Like
I said, I haven't met the new director yet. I have not even had a chance to pop him off a letter yet, but eventually I'll get around to it. Yeah, Lily, it's kind of funny. Some stuff you can't get on Droid for some reason.
You will, though. We are out of time, Joe. I want to thank you.
That was fast.
Yeah, I know. It's always a fast hour. We'll have you back on next time we got something else going on. I.C.A.R's a busy thing. I think we had you January, so You're back with us all the time. Let us know how the sci-fi thing, when the sci-fi thing comes out, we definitely got to have something. We're out of time. We got to go. Thank you, Joe, very much. Joe Montaldo is the director of I.C.A.R. And you can check him out at... Does I.C.A.R have a website?
www.I.C.A.R1.com.
There we go. Until next week, everybody, don't be afraid. Only believe.